All right, hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Sunday, and we got a lot to talk about today. So, what do we got? We got take a look at Bitcoin miners on Friday, what they did. We'll also take a look at some stories that we have here. My kids are playing upstairs. You guys can probably hear the dogs' footsteps. We got that. We'll have a bunch of charts to take a look at. We got IREN to talk about. Wasn't a great press release for November update, and then we also have BitDigital to talk about. Argo, a couple other ones as well, I think, in there. So we got a lot to go through as always, okay? So be patient with me. And as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for 10 minutes only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. All right, trying to catch my breath here. I was running down here, trying to keep my voice from acting up. All right, so let's take a look at what we got on the charts here really quick. Like I said, Bitcoin is now just a little bit over 100,000. Which has been kind of holding there for the last couple of days. It's gone above it a little bit. It stayed below it a little bit. But overall, it's been good over the weekend, right? We don't want to see any huge price movements on it, especially on the weekends. We don't want the gaps on the CME futures happening on Monday. And I think we're heading in that right direction there. So what we might see is Bitcoin start to pump a little bit here in the new day after, what is it, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, I think it is when it changes over to the new day for Monday. At that point, we might see Bitcoin going up a little bit here, but it hasn't closed above 100,000 here. We've been waiting on it. It's been battling with it. On Saturday, it closed at 99,929, still just shy of the 100,000 mark. Here today, we are a little bit above it. So we'll see if we can actually close above it on like Sunday. Well, not Sunday, but maybe Monday possibly. We'll have to wait and see. Miners, on the other hand, had a huge day on Friday. They did really well. Bitfarms was up 10%. BitDeer was up 23%. Cypher was up 3%. Cleanspark was up 7% towards the end of the day. CORZ was only up a little bit here, 0.3%. Hive was up 6%. HUT was up 9%. IREN was up 8%. Mara was up 6%. Riot was up 5%. Wolf was up 5%. Bitcoin was up at that point on Friday. 2.93% was 3%. So a lot of these guys did do better than Bitcoin did, which is nice to see. And then some of the smaller miners did pretty well also. We had any being up 9%, Argo up 7%, BitDigital up 9%, Digihost up almost 9%, DMG only up 2%, Stronghold was up 13%, and then the ETFs did pretty good also. As far as the network hash rate, for some reason, this site is not updating their total hash rate. It's stuck at December 1st here for some reason. And we've seen that happen before as well. It's at 745 from there. I'd like to definitely see where it's at right now. The one part we can take a look at here is kind of like on the daily on it, which I like looking at the 7-day or the 30-day average, just because it evens out things overall. But we can see here that is at, let's see, Bitcoin hash rate. Yep, this is it. We are at 730 right now, looks like, based on this. We did peak out around 900 or so. This was back in middle of November, but we are still trending in the upward direction, looks like, with it. So we might be close to that 800 exahash average for the month of December here, which is kind of what I was expecting to happen as early as beginning of this year. All right, so we got that hash price. We'll take a look at that also on it really quick. See how that's stacking up on the miners, if they're making more or less. And it's at $63, so that's actually pretty good. It's definitely better from where we were in the beginning of November, where we were lower at $48. So that is a nice improvement, and that's a result of Bitcoin going up in value, and that's basically it. All right, so let's get into the stories that we do have here. Also take a look at the returns here for December so far for Bitcoin. It's up 3.47 as of right now. So it's okay. It's not great, but it's not bad, right? We're not in red, so this is looking pretty good for us right now. So let's get into some of the updates. We'll get into the smaller guys first, and then we'll get into the larger guys as well. We have a lot more charts to go over on that side of things. So we do have an update here from Argo. It's just basically a one-line, one-sentence update here. The company mined 39 Bitcoin. It decreased from 46 in December or in October for November, right? So if we look at, let's see here, small miners, let's go to Argo really quick. Argo right now has about 61 million shares outstanding. Stock price, I mean, you can see, hasn't done great over the last 12 weeks. It's down 37% from 12 weeks ago, 43% down from 8 weeks ago, 44% down from 4 weeks ago, and 38% last week alone. The current hash rate is about 2.7. Last reported it, as they reported also, they're going to be it'll be interesting to see where they get the miners moved over from Galaxy Digital, which is ending their basically contract for hosting the machines there for them. So we'll see what December numbers are going to be like for them. But it's, yeah, not good news for them at all. Revenue did increase here a little bit here to 3.38. That's based on the revenue of Bitcoin going up in value. You can see their production here has been going down and down and down, especially after the halving event. It's just hasn't been good for them at all. They were, if you guys recall, going back to 2021, they were like one of the top miners looking to do really well, but then they got in trouble with the bear market on it. All right, we'll take a look at these numbers here in a second. Institutions did decrease here a little bit to 39. Shares also went down a little bit here to 3 million. Percentage owned by institutions is 4.28. We only have 3 hold ratings, 1 sell rating. Price targets stay the same, $1.10 for the high, $1.03 for the average, and $1 for the low on them. They did operate in November for approximately 21 days out of the month. They got us to the 3.376 million based on the average Bitcoin price here in November, and what they reported as being mined as well. So that coincides with that. As far as where do I have them right now, based on, if we use the November numbers times 12 months, I'm between 66 cents and 98 cents. I dropped them down to a PE of 2, right? Not much growth there happening with them. We'll see if they even survive. And that's kind of where the analysts also have them a little bit. I could possibly get into like a PE of 3. It's even too high probably. PE of 2 sounds reasonable here with them, at least right now, until we hear otherwise. But currently they're at 69 cents. I think they're kind of fairly valued for where they are right now and what they have going on for them also. So we'll just leave it at that one for this one. Okay, next here is going to be BitDigital. BitDigital has a pretty good update here. So they announced monthly production update for November. Corporate highlights for November. So treasury holdings of BTC was 813. Ethereum was 27,563. GPU cloud highlights. So this is actually pretty good here. They have a couple contracts. I think we talked about this in the past. I just kind of highlighted some of the stuff here. They have a 6-month contract with somebody for 512 H200 GPUs. That's representing about $5 million in revenue on that. They have also another one for 576 H200 GPUs here for a 12-month period, representing a total of 10.1 million over the term. And then also a 64 H200 GPUs build out on a, this is, let's see, I believe on, month-to-month basis. And on November 28th, a purchase order was executed for an additional 128 H200 GPUs. The total contract value representing an annual revenue of approximately 3.6 million, right? So they're getting these kind of smaller contracts, but they're building up on it as time goes on, which is nice. And then digital asset highlights here. So they mined 44.9 BTC, a 14% decrease compared to the prior month. Company's active hash rate was approximately 2.5, a slight increase of 3.3% from the prior month. And that was basically it on here. They are going to be getting some, at least they've stated they're going to be getting some newer miners to replace the machines that they have here. Also, I think the deal with Coinmint, I think that they had there for hosting was also getting terminated here as well. So they're going to be moving machines out and finding a new partner to host machines there. So they're going to probably end up selling some of the older machines that they do have, getting newer machines to replace those going forward as well. So BitDigital here, 149 million shares outstanding, market cap 730. They've had a really good run here in the last 12 weeks, up 53, almost 54% from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 20%. From 4 weeks, they're up 14%. And then last week, they're up 5.86% on it. Total hash rate 2.5. Future hash rate was supposed to be about 2.8. But I think with the older generation machines that they do have there, we'll talk about those in a second. They're going to get rid of those and get newer machines, probably less machines, but it's the same hash rate. I think they're targeting 3 exahash as well with the newer machines. Bitcoin here has been kind of flat production, more or less, 44.9 for the month here. Revenue has been going up with Bitcoin price going up, even though they're mining less, 3.89 million in revenue for that. HODL has also been increasing here recently, which is nice to see at 813 right now. Monthly hash rate increased just a little bit here, about 76 petahash or so to 2.5 exahash. What else? Bitcoin sold, they only sold 13, looks like, Bitcoin in the month here. BTC per exahash efficiency was 17.91, so that's actually pretty good there. And then going down here, we'll look at the numbers here in a second here. Institutions increased some more here, 285. Shares went up to, actually went down, sorry, 66.85 million. Percentage went down to 44.51. We still have 3 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating. Price target stayed the same for 7 for the high, 613 for the average, and 550 for the low on them. And then as far as the machines here operating for the month of November, I had them operating about 27.9 days out of the month. New machines being added, we're operating on average about 20 days or so. And that got us to the 3.887 million in revenue based on Bitcoin price for the average price of the month in November plus what they mined, and you get that revenue there. And where do I see them right now? Well, right now, based on their last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, but this is only for their self-mining. This does not include HPCI business in there as well. I am between 298 and 447, but if we use the numbers that they reported at the end of Q3 for their HPCI business, divide that by 3 basically to get a average of monthly revenue. Add on top of it the monthly revenue that they're getting right now for Bitcoin mining. And I'm in between right now at 92 million in revenue roughly for the year. And 50%, we're looking at 4.77, so $4.77 to $7.16. That's kind of in line with what the analysts are also looking at here with the P of 15. So I do think that they are still slightly undervalued. They could definitely go up more in time. And with them, it's just one short story or one short press release away from having the stock rocket, depending on what kind of customer they get there going forward. And that's the case with a lot of these guys as well. So I do think that they're still a little bit undervalued from where they really should be. They historically have never been really valued properly based on their operations for Bitcoin mining, or now the customers that they've gotten here in the last year for HPC as well. And I think that's because they were asset light. They have bought new facilities though that they own now, which is good. So they're I think on the right track. They're doing all the right things to get interest there. Also, I think they're going to be looking to be domiciled in the United States as well, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I thought that's what I've heard here recently on them. All right, so that's it for Bit Digital. And I think we got one more to go, which is DMG, I believe, as well. Yeah, DMG provided a quick update here for their operations for November, and here's what we have. Bitcoin mined 32 BTC, down a little bit from 34 that they had in October. Hash rate 1.6, that's an increase from 1.53 that they had. Bitcoin holdings increased also a little bit here to 423. And then there's some good info here. So DMG Blockchain Solutions demonstrated continued progress in operational metrics during November, achieving 32 BTC mined, Bitcoin and hash rate of 1.6. The company is continuing to refine its operations to realize further incremental hash rate improvements while readying its Christina Lake property to receive its 6 Bitmain Hydro containers and its first 1 megawatt of Bitmain S21 Hydro miners. So that'll be a nice increase for them there as well. And then down here, we have management purchases company shares. So I always like this when company executives purchase the company shares. This tells you that they think that the company is undervalued from when they probably really should be. And then we'll see what my numbers are actually. But the company has also announced that Sheldon Bennett, CEO, and Stephen, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, DMG COO, each recently purchased DMG shares in open market purchases. Mr. Bennett purchased 99,461 shares, and Mr. E purchased 107,000 shares and disclosed on SDIG. So that's always good. All right, let's take a look at DMG here really quick. So DMG has 168 million shares, market cap of 57 million, stock price 34 cents. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great, right? They're only down 1.4% from 12 weeks ago, down 2.8 from 8 weeks ago, down 3.4 from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were actually up nicely, 10.6. I wonder if that's contributable to the fact that they purchased shares, right? It's kind of giving a sign to the investors that, yeah, we think we're undervalued. They're currently at 1.7 exahash, future hash rate about 2.1. HODL 423. Bitcoin, that's valued at 36 million. That's 63% of their market cap right now. So they're not really being valued on their operations. They're being valued more on the Bitcoin that they hold, it looks like. Bitcoin production here has improved over the last couple months, so that's good here at least, right? They're up 32. They were 34. Prior to that, they were in the 20s. So that's looking better for them. Bitcoin HODL has been kind of all over the place here. You can see here from month to month that it goes up or down depending. So it seems like they're selling every other month, it looks like. Yeah, they sell, they keep, they sell, they keep, they sell, they keep, sell, they sell, actually, and they keep a lot more here. That's kind of interesting. Take a look at that. Hash rate has been increasing, so that's good. Revenue also has been going up. That's mainly contributable to Bitcoin price going up in value, so that's good. And then down here, let's take a look at institutions really quick here. Institutions stayed the same, 10. Shares did decrease just slightly here to 4.85. That's now 2.44% of the shares owned there. And we have 0 analyst ratings for them as far as buy, hold, or sell ratings, or even price targets for them, at least for the site that I'm using on for them. As far as what they mine here, I had them mining for approximately 30 days with their machines here and 24 with the newer ones being installed here. So really efficient here when it comes to that. They got us to about 2.7 million here in revenue, which coincides with that as well. And then where do I see them right now? Well, if you use the revenue for the last month of November times 12, I'm in between 49 cents and 74 cents. That's with a P of 5. They're still undervalued in my opinion from probably where they should be. And if they continue to grow, which they are going to be growing a little bit, I mean, we could see them maybe get to like $1 or something like that, depending on how much FOMO we get in the market and everything else. But if we have FOMO, they could definitely go up even higher from where I think they should be at least valued now, right? That's kind of based on what I'm thinking they should be valued at least currently. But yeah, I mean, that's it. For them, it's like any small miner, they have to grow. They got to grow as fast as they can, keep up with the network hash rate. If you're not, the only thing that's going to save you is Bitcoin price going up. But that's only going to be for a limited amount of time, usually 9 to 12 months once we start running. Oh, and then at that point, you're going to be in trouble again. All right, so that's it on those. Take a look at the weekly on these guys really quick here as well. And you can see here that BitDigital has done the best here in the last 52 weeks. It's up 177%. Bitcoin's up 159%. Digihost is up 133%. DMG is only up 41%. And Argo is up 14%. So these guys have definitely not been going anywhere near, even as close as Bitcoin has been in the last 52 weeks on it. The last week performance here, we can see that Bitcoin is actually up 58%, or 12 weeks, sorry. We should be over here. DMG last week was up the most, 11%, followed by BitDigital up 6%, Bitcoin only being up 3%, Digihost down 8%, and Argo being down like 38%. If we look at the 4 weeks, things change a little bit here. DMG down 3%, BitDigital up 14%, and Bitcoin up 10%, Digihost 5%, Argo pretty much flat. 8 weeks. I'm not sure why Argo's not popping in here. You can see that for them. Excuse me, and the same again here. I'll check out why Argo is not popping up in here for me later on. I'm not going to get into it right now. All right, looking at the larger miners here. IREN came out with their production update for November. There's some good things and there's some bad things. So we'll cover all those things here. The good things are 379 Bitcoin mined. They should have actually mined more than that, but it is what it is. We'll cover why that might be. The really good thing is 2.96 cents per kilowatt shoulder electricity cost. That's pretty good there. 28 exahash installed capacity at the month end, up 33% from 21 exahash, so really good job there. 50 exahash accelerated to the first half of 2025. We talked about that. AI HPC, NVIDIA H200 GPUs undergoing customer testing, so that's going to be generating some revenue for them there as well. Advancing negotiations for other AI opportunities. Install liquid cooling for Blackwell GPUs, so that they're getting ready for that as well. So those are good things. Bitcoin mine, we talked about that. 379 revenue on average of 86 per Bitcoin, 86,000, right? Hardware profit, 74%. So that's really good there. And then down here, if we scroll down, that's quite a ways down actually. Here it is, momentum building. So sufficient mine inventories on site to achieve 31 exahash in the next few weeks. So that's good, right? They don't have that much to go. They got about 3 exahash that they need to install. But down here, here's a bad part of it. They averaged 20 exahash, including voluntary power price curtailment at Childress, slightly increased in November. Okay, so that's not bad there. But and T21 miner issues being resolved with Bitmain. So they still seem to have issues with those T21s. And if we look at their numbers here really quick, where are they at? IREN right here. We'll get into some of the details. Well, let's get into the miners first because we're talking about that. So they do have some of these miners here, quite a bit of them actually. We just don't know exactly how many. But the T21s they've been getting since earlier this year, Q1, Q2, possibly in Q3, and they got a lot of those. Let's see, they got, how many was that? There are 27,000 of those. They were having some issues with those, and then currently they've been getting some more T21s, right? Another looks like 26. I mean, so they got a lot. Like, what is that? 70-some thousand machines of these. No, 74. Yeah, 74,000 of these. I'd like to know what kind of issues they're having with those machines. And then they had a mix of T21s or S21 Pros. Don't know the exact numbers of these here. So they also have quite a few of those potentially as well. That's 100,000. Oh, those are optional there to get them to, I think, 40 exahash, I believe. But another 50 there. So, and it could be another half and half there, so another 25,000. So they could have like 100,000 of these T21s. We've seen that other companies have issues with them as well. Bitfarms most notably comes to mind. They had to send out, over 1 exahash of machines as well for issues with the thermal paste on those chips. So my question is, I wish they would provide some more details as far as how many of the machines they're having issues with, what's the percentage of those? Because if they're down so much in production here, which we'll get into here in a second, that's not good. They may have to get those swapped out for other machines possibly as well. And based on my numbers here, they were operating about 71% for the month, which is not good. Which is not what we want to see out of IREN. And part of it could be because on the T21s, but we need to know more data on it, I guess, or more information at least. Currently, IREN has about 198 million shares outstanding, market cap $3 billion. Performance here over the last 12 weeks has been really good, and they're up 104% from 12 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, they're up 62%. 4 weeks, they're up 44%. Last week, they were up also 13.9%. Current hash rate 28. They're supposed to get to 31. I'm at 30, so I just need to add one more exahash here. They get a little bit more. They don't hodl anything as far as hodl or Bitcoins. Production here did come down, right? 379 from 439. Would have expected them to increase that, or at least stayed flat with it. So that's a concern there. Bitcoin revenue did increase though, because Bitcoin price has been going up, so they're at 32.8 million. So that's at least good there. Hash rate is at 28, so that's good. Nice increase there. 7 exahash being added. But how many of those are the T21s? How many issues are they having with those as well? BTC per exahash efficiency has come down to 13.5. That's not good, right? That's based on the 71% uptime. And then going down here, we'll take a look at the numbers here. Institution side of things did increase as well, 194. But shares, for some reason, I'm reporting 67,000 or 67 million, down from the 92 million. Not sure why that is. I wonder if that's just a glitch. I've seen that before, where my reporting on that is coming up differently. I don't have my app open, but I will check that, because that is a sizable decrease here in the shares, even though institutions did increase. But we still have 6 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 1 hold rating. Price target stayed the same here for the high at 26. Average went up to 1794, and the low stayed the same at 1950. All right, now for the month, I had them operating here in November for 21 days with the machines being installed, the new machines running for approximately 20 days. And that's how we're able to figure out that it was about 71% operational uptime for the month here, which not good. Definitely not good. We always harp on companies that are not operating close to 100%, right? We like to see them around at least above 90, closer to more like 95, 97% uptime would be all the better. So there's that. That got us to the 32.8 million, which we have here as well. And then where do I see them right now? Well, based on the last month revenue times 12, I would say somewhere between $20 and $30 right now. They're at $15.39. They're still way undervalued in my opinion. And even if we use the numbers for the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter they're in, which is estimated having between 13.53 and 20.29, they're at 15.39. This shows me that they're kind of fairly valued, but investors are always forward-looking, so that's why we always go with the last month's revenue times 12 months, just to get an idea of where they possibly should be, and this is more where I'm looking at on this. And remember, as Bitcoin price goes up, that number is going to change as the revenue increases here going forward, so we could see this much higher here going in the future for all these guys, actually. All right, so that's it on IREN. The only thing, like I said, for IREN is they've done a fantastic job growing this year. My only concern there is the T21s. How big is the issue there with those? We'd like some more clarification from the management there. And yeah, what are they going to do to resolve the uptime? Right, we want to see that much closer to like 95% uptime. All right, so that's it on that one. And let's take a look at some charts that I wanted to go over with you guys here. I'm still working on the break-even one. I'm still waiting on one miner to report their November numbers, which is Hive. Once I get that one in, I should have the break-even numbers, which are estimates. They're not exact 100%. They're going to be off. You know, I give it 5 to 10% up or down, either direction possibly. But they're kind of close enough to at least give us an idea of where they could be right now as far as their break-even numbers. With the network hash rate, where it's at, Bitcoin price, all that stuff. Okay, what else do we have here? Miner comparison charts. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Also take a look at, try to look at these at least weekly. Hash rate percentage growth 12 months. We can see that IREN has grown the most here, 391%, followed by Cleanspark, 234%. Hot's actually down on it. Riot also grew nicely, around 48%. Exahash added last 12 months. We got Cleanspark with 23 IREN, and I wonder if this is using the latest data on it. They should be. I think I've updated this. Yeah, so this should be the latest data on it. So those two are really close together. And going down here, we got percent of network hash rate. Let's see here. Mara's got the most, 5.7 exahash, or 5.7% of it. Cleanspark is next, 4.4, then Riot 4.2. Current hash rate, yeah, 44, almost 45 for Amara, IREN 28, Cleanspark 33, Riot at 30 right now as well. And then if we look at operational future hash rate and future hash rate, Cleanspark's about 50, Mara's about 50 as well, so those two are going to be close together. You can see how everybody else stacks up here all as well. Operational percentage of operational future hash rate, we can see that Riot is about 98% installed here. CORZ 94%, Cypher 89%, BitTF 76% right now installed, IREN 93%, Marathon 89%. You still got like Bitfarms 60%, Cleanspark 60%, Hive 52%, Hut 8, 61% roughly. and then TeraWolf 84%. So you can see how that's in there right now. Year to date, BTC mined here, Mara the highest, 6.1 thousand Bitcoin, followed by Cleanspark 5.1. Then you got Core with 4.3. BTC mined monthly here, year over year BTC mined difference. Everybody is in the red except for actually IREN. IREN's up 10%, 10 more BTC from last year in November. Korean Bitcoin HODL, Marathon's got the most. I think they even bought more here recently. So that's, I mean, that's just ridiculous. They're almost 35,000 Bitcoin. Next closest would be Riot, 11,425. Then you got Cleanspark now overtaking Hut 8 with 9,297, and Hut's got 9,122. And current Bitcoin value is 3.4 billion for Marathon. Riot's got 1.1. Cleanspark's got 926 million. Hut's got 908 million on that. All right. So I told you guys we're gonna have a lot of charts to go through here today. Haven't done this one yet. Market cap. Here's how the market cap stacks up right now. Mara's got the highest market cap, 8.5 billion, followed by Core, 4.7. Cleanspark's now back in the number 3 spot with 4.3. Riot with just slightly behind them with 4.3 as well billion. Then you got TeraWolf, IREN, both in the 3 billions. Hut at 2.8, BitDeer 2.6, Cypher 2.4, Bitfarms way down at 1 billion, and Hive at 516 million. Shares outstanding, Bitfarms has the most, followed by TeraWolf, 385. And then we would have Cypher 347, and then we got Cleanspark in there, or actually Marathon in there as well. Riot even higher than Cleanspark right now as it is. 3-month revenue, market cap multiple. So we're looking at the last 3 months of revenue, and I'm still waiting on Hive, right? Which Hive is in here, but that's old data. Theirs is from October numbers. TeraWolf, if you look at their last 3 months of revenue, divide that by the market cap, and you get the multiple there. They're getting that huge multiple on it. The smallest one here is Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Riot, IREN. Mara getting the smallest multiple. Based on 12 months of revenue, divide that by the market cap. You get, again, TeraWolf with 23 multiple, the highest here. Now you got Hive, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Core, and then IREN as well, getting the lowest multiple on that one, based on the last 12 months. Okay, so there's that one. Stock performance as well, we can see here from 10/1/2024. So this is basically the beginning of October here. BitDeer has done the best. It's up 202%, followed by Hut 8, 161%. And you got IREN up 99%, Cypher 98%, TeraWolf 87%, Riot 82%, almost 83%. Marathon 75%, Cleanspark 73%. You got Bitcoin being up 48%. All of these guys have outperformed Bitcoin here at least slightly to nicely. And then Hive, Core Sentiment, Bitfarms have underperformed. Price difference from 7, so basically from the second half of the year here. You got BitDeer, Hut 8 being up 98% here. Core being up 72%, TeraWolf 55%, Cypher 50%, Bitcoin up 43%. Those guys have outperformed. Hive, Riot, Iris, Marathon, Bitfarms, and Cleanspark. Cleanspark actually has underperformed the most here, which might mean maybe we'll go to the inverse of that in the next 6 months. We'll see if that plays out that way. Price percentage difference from 124, so from the start of the year here. CORZ up 393%, TeraWolf up 253%, Hut's up 140%, BitDeer is 136%, IREN 126%, Bitcoin's up 101%. Those guys have outperformed. These all have underperformed, with Bitfarms being the lowest performer here. And then price difference from 1/3/23, basically when the miners have bottomed out at the end of December in 2022. You can see Iris is up 1,000, almost 200%. TeraWolf 1,043, Cypher 1,010%, Marathon up 677, Cleanspark 644, Hut 639, Bitcoin's up 442. So all of those guys have outperformed Bitcoin here since the bottom. Then you got Bitfarms just close to breaking even with Bitcoin here. Core still trying to catch up there. Riot has underperformed here since then. Hive 184%, BitDeer 100%. Okay, so you can see how that has also stacked up on these guys. All right. Enterprise value metrics, really quick, going over those. Right, take out cash, debt, HODL, all that stuff. We get a pretty good value on the enterprise value of the companies. Then we look at the current hash rate, where they're being valued at that point, and the future hash rate, and also what they mined here in the month of November. Excuse me, gotta take a sip of water. All right, so current hash rate. So based on the valuations for enterprise value to exahash, we can see that Hut 8 is being way overvalued, 386 million per exahash, followed by TeraWolf and BitDeer, both at 316 million. Then you got Core 246, which I kind of understand. Cypher's being still way overvalued, I think, 201 million. And you got Cleanspark at 101 million, Riot 97, IREN at 96, Bitfarms at 75, Marathon at 70 million, and Hive at 54 million. So those guys are still way undervalued, in my opinion, compared to these guys here, who are definitely way overvalued, especially if you look at future hash rate growth, where they're going in the next basically 12 months or so. You can see Hive still way undervalued, Bitfarms as well, Cleanspark, Marathon, IREN, Riot, right? And then these guys here are still way overvalued. TeraWolf's getting 359 million per exahash. That's just, to me, that's ridiculous, but they're being valued more on the HPCI potential there. All right, then if we look at the enterprise per BTC mined, so if you look at like Marathon mined 884 Bitcoin, right? They're being valued 3.5 million per Bitcoin, basically. Bitfarms only mined 204, but they're being actually valued a little bit more, 4.72 based on that. So it seems like Marathon is being valued more on their HODL than their operations. If you look at some of the metrics up here. Cleanspark, right, 662, they're only being valued at 5.4 million per BTC. Riot, 495, even getting valued higher than Cleanspark is. Then IREN, 379 Bitcoin, almost half of what Cleanspark is, but they're, you know, like 2 million higher than in their value for it, 7.13 million. Cypher, 202, 11.95 million per BTC mined, right? Core, 314, 15 million valued for that. BitDeer, 150 Bitcoin mined, 17.7 million, whereas these guys here are like 1/3 of that, which is, to me, kind of ridiculous. TeraWolf, 115 Bitcoin, 23.12 million per Bitcoin mined. Hut 8, 94 Bitcoin, 23.38. Okay, so that kind of shows you where things are standing right now in those things. All right, that's it for those. The other thing that we have here, I haven't updated the stats yet. I will update that. I think that should be coming up here, and then we'll just take a look at quickly on the weekly side of things for these guys. If I can find it, there it is, right there next to it. On the weekly, and this is always interesting to take a look at from the 52-week lows and from how far away they are from the 52-week highs here. TeraWolf has been the best here in the 52 weeks. It's up 548%. Core, 551, second best here. Then you got Hut 8, 389%. IREN, 332. Followed by BitDeer, 301. Cypher, 229. Bitcoin's up 157%, whereas Cleanspark is only up 133%. Riot, 103. Marathon, 100%. Hive, 95%. Bitfarms, 50%, right? You're seeing the same kind of thing here with the valuations per exahash and everything else play into how they're being valued here in the last 52 weeks, which eventually I think this will flip. I just don't know exactly when. Going down here to their weekly performance here, BitDeer was up the greatest this week. It's up 47%, followed by IREN 14%, Hut being up 8, Hive being up 7, Bitfarms 7%, Cypher 6%, Cleanspark up 4, TeraWolf 3, Riot 2%, and Bitcoin was up about 2%. Marathon was actually down 4%, along with Core. 4 weeks, things changed a little bit more. BitDeer is still up 89%. Bitcoin at that point is up 9%. You got IREN being up 44%, Hut 20%, Marathon 25%. And then who else performed would be TeraWolf. And then lastly, here on the 8 weeks here, 142% for BitDeer, Hut 8, 109%. Bitcoin's at 45%, so that kind of leaves out just TeraWolf. Everybody else has underperformed here in the last 8 weeks. And then going to 12 weeks, Bitcoin's at 57%. And then you got, at that point, the only companies that have underperformed would be Hive, Bitfarms, and Core. Everybody else, for the most part, has outperformed slightly to very nicely. Okay, that's it. Here's how that all stacks up here on the weekly for the miners and Bitcoin, whether it's in the green or in the red for the week. And that is it. All right. It's like I said, we had a lot of stuff to get through here today. A lot of charts to look over. And yeah, let's get into you guys' Q&A. I got to clear my throat too, so bear with me. Okay. So let's take a look at the Q&A side of things here. As always, Patreon members, you guys have access to all these spreadsheets. Right, the link for that is down in the description below. It's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots that are still, I think, $4 and $5 a month. And if you pay the annual subscription for it for the 12 months, you get a 10% discount on top of it. All right, that is it. Let's get into the Q&A. Let's get into the fun side of things. See what you guys have any questions on. So bear with me. Also, if you could preface your questions with your questions, I will get to all of your questions. It may take me a little while, but I'm going to scroll up a little bit on the comments, see if I can find some questions from before, and then we'll work our way down again. Okay. Trying to find a couple questions. Where can we start here? Alrighty, I think we'll start maybe somewhere around here. Okay. From Mr. Nelson, do you think there is any possibility that the cycle could change in any way where one would want to hold onto some Bitcoin miners? No obvious crypto winter for Bitcoin. If we have an extended cycle, which there might be possibility of that, right? We'll have to wait and see. We won't know until we're in it. But yeah, there might be some miners you want to hold. The miners that you may want to hold would be like the ones that have possible HPCI deals, right? Kind of like CORZ. CORZ has huge revenue coming up here in the next year from the CoreWeave deal that they're going to be generating a lot of revenue from. That might be one you want to hold. And then also, I mean, it depends on where Bitcoin goes in general, I guess you could say. Yeah, and if we don't have a bear market again, or if we have a slight bear market where we go down 10, 20% as a corrective, and then we continue going up, then you might be able to hold on to miners even longer, I think. I just don't know. Will we have a repeat of the prior cycles where things drop back down? 70% on Bitcoin, miners go down 90%. Well, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, with all the adoption that we're having with countries buying it, states, pension funds, all ETFs, everything, I just don't know if we're going to have a similar cycle as like before. It might be just an extended cycle where we just go up, but we go up slower over a longer period of time. That might happen. We'll have to see. All right, let's see if we can find another question here. All right. Do you think the miners will sell off end of December like last year? Yeah, they sold off last year. I would think they would do the same thing. You're going to have companies trying to put, good figures on the end of their balance or on their books for the end of the year, so that we might see that. But also depends on how much buying we have, right? People are also buying. We may not see that big of a dip. We'll see. I mean, it's still for the next 9 to 12 months. I'm not worried about it. If we get a dip, I'm looking at it as a buying opportunity at that point. All right. Okay. Let's see. Question: what would you say are the chances that all miner madness were January, March 2025? What would you say the chances that all the miner madness we're going to see in like January? Maybe. As far as what are the chances of that? Better than zero, but I don't know what the chances of that. I think somewhere in the next 9 to 12 months, the miners will be running. When that's exactly going to happen, I'm not sure. Paul says, I think you started covering Canon. Yeah, I think Canon's up like 200% in the last, 3-4 weeks or something like that. It's finally catching up. But if you look at Canon, let's take a look at it, because Canon's kind of interesting. I've been watching it for like the last 3 years or so just to see how it performs. Let me see if I can pull this up. So we'll compare it to Bitcoin here really quick on the monthly charts. All right, let's take a look. If we go here and add in Canon, there it is, same as price. Okay, yeah, it's definitely outperforming here. Bitcoin here recently, 208%. This is basically from the beginning of October 18th. If we look at, what do we want to look at? Let's look at the year-to-date. Year-to-date, Bitcoin's up 136%, Canon's up 40%, right? So it hasn't really done well. It's been doing much better here since October. Not sure why. Maybe there's some news stories or something like that, or people are just kind of finally waking up to it that it's another Bitcoin manufacturer, Bitcoin ASIC manufacturer as well. They do mine some Bitcoin. But if we look at that, so that's 1 year. Let's look at 1 year. 1 year gets a little bit closer to it. 103% for Bitcoin. Canon's up 114%. And then if we look at the 5-year chart, you can see that Canon's actually down 61%, where Bitcoin's up 1,249%. But I know that it's cyclical, kind of like the miners are as well, right? You don't want to hold on to them for a long period of time. You want to get into them when they're kind of bottoming out, and that's when they usually do really well. But I still think the miners do better than Canon going forward. That's just my opinion there. Okay, let's go back to the Q&A. What else do we have here? This first question. Okay. Could you explain IREN closing the 440 million convertible note? How is it beneficial for the stock? Well, they're not diluting right now, right? So the way it's going to work out, it's going to be until, what is it, 20... I got to look it up. I think it's 2031. But I could be wrong on that. Let's see here. IREN, and they're paying, what is it? They do have some interest on it. There's just so many of these going on right now that it's hard to keep track of all these guys. 3%, 3.25% coupon, 30% conversion premium, right? And that is going to be for, what's the length on it? 2030. Yeah, so they're not due until 2030. They are also doing these kind of capped calls, which protects them from dilution going forward a little bit. It's not going to cover everything, but it's going to protect them from that. Right? You got the capped call transactions here. You also have the prepaid forward transaction as well. So it is an interesting one. I talked to some people in the industry. They said that this is a good thing for us. And there's going to be some dilution for sure to pay these convertible notes off in the long run, but it's not going to be as bad as if you would to do like an ATM on it. So I think this is good. I hope that kind of answers your question. I know you can get really into details on this, and I don't have the financial, I guess, background you could say to really dive into how does this actually impact. But from what I've heard, it's going to be good. So I'm going with that. And just like all the other guys that are doing it right now, who else is doing it? Terrelf is doing it. HUD is doing it. Marathon's doing it. They're all kind of going this route right now. Okay. All right. Go back here. Q&A. Where's that? There it is. Okay. Question. Last cycle, miners started taking off in December 2020, peaked in February 2021. Do you think we'll see a similar pattern this time? Will you buy more next week? I'm thinking buy more IREN, Cleanspark, WAGMI. I did buy, when was it, last week? Week prior, I can't remember now. Last week or the week prior, I bought some more. When I sold a portion of my Bitfarms, I traded over. I still have some cash on the side that I could buy more. I'm just going to be looking to see if we get any kind of dips, nice dips. And that's kind of why I'm waiting maybe towards the end of December to maybe buy in a little bit more, because last year we saw a dip there. But yeah, all of the miners pretty much peaked out. Was it February or was it further out? I think it was like more in April, March. I think that's where kind of peaked out last cycle. And then the only one that followed suit was Marathon, that followed the dip down into the summer months and then up again to the double top in Bitcoin at that point. Okay. Question. This has been such a perplexing year. I know BTC was going to go way up, so I bought Bitfarms and Cleanspark as a leverage play for multiples more. So far, that hasn't worked out at all. Going forward, it will. That's why I don't play with leverage plays or options, because miners are in themselves just so volatile already. You add on top of that options, and you're, 2x multiple of volatility on them. To me, I don't like that. What is your target price for IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and exit plan? So I still think IREN, Cleanspark, or Cleanspark could possibly get to like $60 this cycle. That's conservative. IREN, $60 to $70, somewhere around there. Bitfarms, I'm now guessing somewhere between maybe $10 on the good side. If we do really good, we could go north of that. But that's kind of where I would think. Let's see. What's my exit plan? I'm going to start selling probably once Bitcoin gets closer to 250,000 at that point. Start 5% off here, 5% off there. Just slowly dollar cost average out of those things. Will you sell most in spring and hold a few to see if there's another? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just going to slowly dollar cost average out. I don't know where the peak's going to be, and I'm okay with that. If I get the peak, fine. If I don't get the peak, I'm still taking profits. No shame in taking profits at all. All right. Hey, man, huge fan. Oh, thank you so much. What is your number one choice for miners and why? For me, it's still been Cleanspark because of their operations, their growth, everything else. I don't think they're like trying to be like the top miner here. I think they're trying to even maybe outdo Marathon. I don't think they're going to be able to do Marathon this cycle with their HODL, but you never know. They could surprise us. But operational wise, yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to beat Mara to be the top miner here. So I like their, what's the word I'm looking for? I like their drive, basically, to be like the top miner. When would miners likely get to 20, 30, 40 PE? Would it be most likely to occur on a quick jump on Bitcoin, given miners typically don't top when BTC tops? Miners usually top before Bitcoin does, so we would expect that to be in the next, I would say, possibly like 3 to 4 months, maybe, if historically looking. What do you know about DeFi? Not much. It's up 110% in the last 30 days. I'm trying to learn about Bitcoin-related stocks beyond the miners. Yeah, I don't know much. I know a lot of companies that were in DeFi last cycle got crushed or got liquidated. So I'm not sure as far as what they're all doing in there. I'll have to look into it. All right. Let's see. Question. It seems like HUD 8 is getting back on Bitcoin mining. Would you think they are currently overvalued? I think right now they're, I mean, based on what they're mining right now, yes, I would say that they're overvalued for what they are right now. Going forward, if they can get to the 13 exahash, I think they're trying to get to with the newer machines, and then they have an option to get another 15 exahash, I think, from Bitmain through their deal there that Bitmain is hosting, but they have an option to buy them out. That would get them out like to 25, was it 25, 28 exahash, I think, something like that. Okay, at that point, then, yeah, we're looking much better for them. But right now, I think they're being valued more on their HPCI potential. Plus, you got Anthony Pompliano. They're pumping the stock up for him, right? He's got a huge following. That's helping the stock out. You got the investment from Code 2 as well. And that's helping the stock out there. So that's really what they're being valued on there. Let's see. Hey, so did you see Dennis Ortiz that there would be a very big news for crypto coming this week? I did not, but Dennis has been posting a lot of stuff that's been interesting. He's today posted about Amazon. I think there was in one of their filings, I think they had in there for the board to look into having Bitcoin as a strategic reserve on their assets, on their balance sheet as well. So there's a lot of good things happening here for us. Do you think there will be a big dip in BTC and even more in the miners in the next few months? I'm thinking of keeping some money off the side to buy after the big dip. The only big dip that we might see here is coming at the end of this month, if we get one. We had one last year. We might see that again, especially for like the institutions, things like that. They might be selling to lock in their gains for the year. So that's something to keep an eye on. All right, question. Bought Cleanspark at 15.20, one shot and holding for 1 year period. Do you think I should sell and wait for a better entry price? It seems that you anticipate a short-term correction. We might have a little correction here. We might be down in Bitcoin a little bit, maybe 5-10%, whatever it's going to be at the end of the month here. We'll have to wait and see where we actually get to. If we get that, we had it last year. So that would be also dip in the miners. As far as should you sell what you bought in at, I mean, Cleanspark's at what is it at right now? At almost $15, so pretty close to where you are right now, where you are break even. I would say dollar cost average in if you can, because you might sell it now and then this coming week it might run up on you. All right, let's see. Hey Seb, thinking back to March 2021, what caused the miners BTC to dip significantly? Do you remember the catalyst? Thanks. Yeah, you had two things that I can recall. One was China Bitcoin mining ban happening there, right? That spooked a lot of people. It also moved a lot of hash rate from China over to the United States, other countries, Kazakhstan, elsewhere as well. And then you had also Elon Musk at that time basically say that they're not going to be accepting Bitcoin anymore for their vehicles because Bitcoin is not clean, not carbon neutral or carbon friendly, whatever he said it at that point. I think that those two things spooked the market. Let's see. Question, what hash rate is Riot targeting for Q1 of 2025? That I don't know. I know that they have machines to get to, I think, like 40 exahash, possibly. Let me see here really quick on my sheet. I don't want to guess. I know what they have reported, and then they have options to buy more. Let's go here. So, what do we got here? I mean, we have them getting to 31 exahash for Riot total. So actually, it should be probably 42 if that's being... Let's see here. Add that in there as well. Yeah, it's like 43 exahash is what I have them possibly getting to without them reporting on anything else that they're going to be buying here. They do have options to buy more machines, but those haven't been executed yet. So once they execute on those, we'll add their hash rate in here. But it looks like roughly around 40, 43, somewhere around there. Okay, going back here. Instead of buying IREN around 15, perhaps waiting for it to come down to under 10 or even 8 might be a better strategy, leaving big money off the side. Thoughts on this idea? Thanks. That's if we come down to those levels. I don't know if we will. Right? And that's the big thing, is I would rather just dollar cost average in. If we go down, dollar cost average in as it goes down, but you're not missing it. And if it goes up, dollar cost average in that way as well. All right. Hey, so what is your conservative target for Riot and Mara this cycle? Thanks. Riot, I still think if they can improve their operations, which they have been improving, where are they at right now? They are at $13 roughly. I still think they could go probably north of $50 for Riot. Marathon, probably north of maybe even $70, $80. Possibly. I mean, they're at $26 right now. For them to do that would be just basically a 3 to 4x. And I still think the miners will do at least a 3 to 5x, so they could even do better than that. Okay. Let's see your question. Dim, if we don't follow the early 2025 pattern like the 2021, I'll be a bag holding miners. No, we should. We should go up in value. Would this be the last bull cycle for the miners? If we have an extended cycle, it might be. But if we have another bear cycle with Bitcoin and the miners, then we would have another bull run as well. And I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball. We'll see where things go. But based on the adoption that I'm seeing here, it's just increasing more and more as time goes on. I'm starting to think that the likelihood of an extended cycle are increasing basically daily, weekly here. Which miner company is your number one? My number one is still Cleanspark for me. Obviously, others have done better here in the last probably 6 months or so. But Cleanspark, from when I got into it, it's still the best performer that I have. And I think that's still way undervalued from where it really should be going forward. So I think that one still might be the one to watch. Are you concerned about IREN's uptime? Yeah, I'm a little concerned there. 71% is not great. They did put in there that having some issues with the T21s. Okay, what are those issues? How many miners is that affecting? We'd like to know those types of things. Let's see. How much do you think Cleanspark's Mars would be valued if their management came out and categorically said that there would be no more dilution ever? They can't say that. There's always going to be dilution in this space. You need to grow unless you have it where you don't have a bear cycle. If you don't have a bear cycle and these guys are still profitable on an average of like, say, 50% profit margin, well, then they possibly may not need to dilute at that point because you're generating so much revenue. And if you get to scale quickly enough, you can definitely pull that off. But otherwise, if you have continuation of the similar cycles, I mean, it's really tough on them, especially in the bear markets. All right, let's see. One more question. Do you think Trump is going to make the Bitcoin as a strategic reserve? I think so. I think they're working on it. Dennis Porter's working on it. Cynthia Loomis is working on it. I'm sure everybody else behind the scenes that's a Bitcoin bull is working on it. What is the chance you think it would happen? How much would it further drive the Bitcoin price? Well, it depends on how much they put into the reserve, right? But if they're trying to keep it like the same amount as gold, okay, that'd be kind of interesting. That's quite a lot there. And then when chances of that happening, I think, are pretty good in the first year. So I would look for that to happen in 2025. Okay. Will Bitfarms continue to get shorted until the SDIG acquisition in Q1 2025? Investors have to be worried about the dilution. Possibly. Yeah. I don't know about the shorts. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the shorts, at least in my opinion, if I was this short and I start seeing Bitcoins at 150,000, 200,000, you're probably going to be covering at that point, I would think. You don't want to play with fire too much. All right. Do you think the US CPI and FOMC next week will create any waves, or are things priced in? I think things are priced in, or are we past the days of Powell's speeches moving the market? No, I think his speeches will still move the market, whether he's hawkish or dovish there. That's still going to be the case. But I think they're going to try and keep the economy going forward. I don't know if he's met with President Trump now elect. See if they, what are their plans there? We'll find out. Let's see, Andy, hi to you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, on my flight from Newark, New Jersey to Dallas, do you think Clark's short interest squeeze will ease up? Cleanspark, I'm guessing. What do you think is the catalyst to get to Cleanspark to take off? I think the catalyst just has to be Bitcoin continuing to go up. It's already done pretty nicely here, at least on Friday. And we're seeing that also happening with Bitcoin being up only a couple percentage points. They're usually up a little bit more than that. So we're starting to see that kind of change out a little bit. But yeah, I think we just need to be a little bit more patient and give it a little bit more time. Let's see your question. Payback for all your research. All man took initial position in HODL. Cipher for the future appointment of David Sachs. Help me pull the trigger. Not financial advice or pump. Do your own research. Okay. Let's see here. Seb, I paid for the year subscription. I'm not getting any access to anything still. If you can look into this, Andy. Okay, so on Patreon, let me write that down. My notes here someplace. Hold on. Let me take a note. Bear with me. I'm going to put that in my notes. Where's my notes? Oh, Notes, office, notes. Okay. Andy, we'll look into it here. Andy Ozzy. If anything, reach out to me. I got to respond to, I think, some comments down in Patreon as well. Andy, Patreon. Patreon. Put it on my to list, otherwise I will forget. I just got too many things going on. Andy Ozzy. Okay. If you're having issues, I will refund you if we can't get it resolved. One way or another, I'll get you refunded. If we can't get it resolved. But I want to get it resolved. So I'll look into it here. All right. Let's see. Question, DCA is always good. The thing is that you can always lose the upwards movements. So if you only go one shot in a miner for a 1 year horizon, would you go to more or wait for a correction? I would wait for a correction if we could get one. That's why one shots are always kind of hard, because you just don't know if you're going to have, if you're in the right timing, things could go south on you. And that's why I like to use dollar cost average, because you're getting it over that period of time where you could get it at much lower prices. You're going to probably get it at a little higher prices, but on average, you're going to get it at a pretty good rate. See, how do you feel about the company Canon? Historically, it has underperformed Bitcoin. It's starting to, I mean, we're talking about it now because it's doing up. It's up 200%, and that's why people are talking about it. But if you look at it historically, it's been lagging Bitcoin. All right. Let's see. Bitfarms Cleanspark price is lagging and management is aware. Do you believe at some point there is no price appreciation? They should start pumping by releases, AI news, convertible notes. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that always helps, right? Being thinking about that they're funded to 50 exahash or something like that for Cleanspark, and then Bitfarms, if they're funded to 35 exahash, fully funded or something like that, that could be a good catalyst for the stocks. Yeah, any kind of news definitely helps, especially good news. Okay, I talked about that one already. Let's see. Question: oil reserves makes sense, and we use it recently, but why BTC? Loomis says not to use it until at least 20 years. Which obviates the strategic reserve thing if we can't use it. Well, I think you want to use it when it's much higher valued. So if we're looking at it potentially where the adoption curve is, I mean, we're still at the very early part of the adoption curve. And then when you get up to way up adoption here, Bitcoin could be at, at $10 million or whatever, it could be even north of that. And you probably want to use it then a little bit for whatever you want to use it for. So I think because you want to have it also as a strategic reserve, as a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not a hedge, but you don't want to be the last one without anything, right? If other countries get it, things like that, you also want to have some power in there as well. Let's see. Angie says, "Hi Seb, I reviewed the 2020 charts and saw Cleanspark peak before the having run 7 to 8 months after, but we're the first miner to top out. Do you think they'll be using the same strategy of the cycle?" No. You also have to understand that Cleanspark was not a miner really at that point. They didn't become a miner until January of 2021 when they bought a facility that had 100 petahash. They grew that year to, I think, like 2 exahash by the end of the year, 1 exahash, I can't remember. But I mean, Bitcoin pretty much peaked in, when was it, like March, April, somewhere around there, peaked the first time, and then went down and peaked again and back in like October, November, double top. So I wouldn't look at it at that point. They were a different company. They were a microgrid company. So don't use those numbers for it. We don't know what's going to happen with Cleanspark here. Talked about that one. Question: do you think what's happening in Syria market could be impacted in a negative way? No. I think it's neutral. On that one. Assad is out. I know he's seeking asylum, I believe, in Russia. Yeah, I don't think that's... I mean, we'll see what kind of... If it leads to like World War III or something like that, then it would be a problem. But yeah, not right now. Let's see. Question: miners secure the blockchain. What happens when all the BTC is mined and miners are out of business or pursuing other pursuits? By that time, in what is it supposed to be, like 2140, the transaction fees are supposed to help offset the rewards, or at least by that time there should be a much larger percentage of it. So they're still going to be needed to secure the network at that point. Question: if you had to say yes or no for Cleanspark at 26, 25, 30 by August 25, what is your final bet? Oh yeah, by August, yeah, I would think we would be there, if not higher. How do miners secure the blockchain? Well, you would need a brute force to basically attack on the market, or not the market, but 51% attack on the Bitcoin, right? So there's so many more Bitcoin miners out there that it's hard to gain control of the blockchain that's underlying it, right? Because when you mine a block, you're basically securing the network for it. You're getting that block, it's getting written into the blockchain, everything else. But and you would need a 51% attack in order for somebody else to take control or put in malicious blocks, basically. Have you been following Quantum Expedition's movements? I follow them a little bit here. Not much, though. I know that they're very small, that they're still in their seed fund seed raise. No, fund. What was that called? Seed funding, right? One, right, where they're doing the they're doing the social investing, not investing, funding, social funding from regular investors and things like that. They're small. I've talked to the guys. The guys seem pretty good. Decent guys trying to build it up from nothing, basically. And it's tough. If you don't have the capital, like the ATMs availability and everything else, it's really tough. Or you need somebody that's got really deep pockets. Okay. What do you think is the best investment percentage multiples moving forward? Cleanspark, Bitfarms, MicroStrategy, BitX, the 2X. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I would still think it'd be the miners going forward, right? I don't know exactly which is going to do better. It could get a surprise. It could be one of the smaller guys, but those guys are also more risky. I would just kind of diversify as best you can, right? Okay. What would a 5x on Bitcoin be this cycle? This cycle, if you look at the bottom where it bottomed out, I mean, we're already past 5x, right? Bottomed out at, was it 15,500? So we're already at more than 5x on it. If you look at from it where it was previous cycle, it's 70,000 top, roughly 69,000, right? 5x would be 350,000. I don't think, I'm not going to say it can't happen, but I don't think the likelihood of that is very high this year at least. But I'd be happily surprised if it does happen. All right. Let's see. Hi, Seb, are you expecting convertible notes with Cleanspark, Riot after their ATM? Are you expecting parabolic moves from miners before Q1? Yeah, I'm expecting nice rises here in the first half of the year. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, whether it's going to be Q1 or Q2. And as far as will the miners do that? I don't know. Especially Cleanspark, Riot, will they do it? They might. I mean, they could possibly do it. But what if you doing a convertible note, you then have to go to those convertible note holders and ask them if you can do an ATM, right? Is there a hindrance to you going forward as well? Possibly, depending if you had another bear market and things like that. Where we saw with Hot 8, they had to ask Code 2, right, if they could do was it the ATM or the convertible notes? I can't remember which one it was now. But so something to be mindful of there as well. I don't know if that's the case. I just don't know for sure. And would you suggest staying away from even the top 50 alts because of the hassle, uncertainty, etc.? Thanks. I would say maybe if you're going to get into like the top 10 alts, maybe. But even that can change from cycle to cycle. We've seen before where Litecoin was in like the top 10 along with Dash. Dash, I'm pretty sure, is no longer in the top 10 anymore. You've seen other ones as well. Things do change over time there. Hi, Christian. I see that. Let's see. Question. Hey, Seb. What do you think from Hut 8 last report, the ATM and the stock repurchase? Well, that's kind of the thing that I was just talking about here a little bit with some of these convertible notes and things like that. They were seeing, like, I think, who was it? TeraWolf was one of the other companies that had a convertible note? Yeah. Where they had to, I don't know if it was forced on them to buy back shares or whether that was something they wanted to do anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's good, I guess, for investors because they're going to be buying some shares back, but they have an option to buy. It's not that they're going to have to buy them. And I think this still has to go through the shareholders' approval on that one. I would almost rather have them use that money to grow. Actually, I mean, they're in a growth phase right now. They should be growing as fast as they can. What did Amazon do when they were first growing? I mean, they took everything that they could, throw it into the business to grow to a sizable scale or monumental scale where they're too big to fail at that point almost, right? Where the revenues will then just throw in. Throw is probably not the right word, but, be generating so much revenue that you're going to be making the shareholders there very wealthy because of it. But maybe I'm wrong. Hi, so just missed your whole stream, so I'm gonna say greetings from Macadamia Europe Balkan. Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for coming in. All right. Let's see. What is your take on miners currently? Are you still expecting them to rally as you did earlier this year, 5 to 10x, or do you think it's less likely to happen now at this point of the cycle? Well, I don't think we're gonna get. We might get a 10x, but that's gonna be on the way closer side of the FOMO part of it. I think right now I'm still looking to like 3 to 5x from where we are right now, because the miners have gone up actually from where they were this year. So we can't say that they're going to do another 5 to 10x here, right? As far as some of the miners, I thought we were going to do better. The thing that changed this cycle was the HPCI play. That has definitely put on a kind of a little bit of a monkey wrench into some of the miners here that are growing nicely, growing their hash rate, generating more Bitcoin and everything else. Those have been kind of overlooked for the HPCI potential plays. So that's a little bit different there as well. All right. Hi, so are you expecting convertible notes, Cleanspark right after the, okay, talked about that one already, minus Q1, yeah. All right. What would your decision be in the following scenario? During 2025, Bitcoin goes to 200,000, retraces 50% to 100,000, then finally goes to 300,000. Okay. Would you sell at 200,000, buy back at 100,000, or would you just hold to 300,000? Well, you don't know it's going to go back to 300,000, right? If you knew that up front, then yeah, I would just sell at 200, buy back at 100, then sell at 300 again. But you're not going to know that in advance. So at 200,000, that would be already, I might be selling at that point anyways. Might be done halfway selling. So if it goes to 200,000 and continues going back down, I'm going to continue to sell out. So at least I got the peak at 200,000. I didn't sell everything at the peak, but I sold like, 50,000 before then, and then 50,000 afterwards. And then I would just see where things go. I could possibly start buying back in if I wanted to, if I thought we're going to get another cycle. Alrighty, let's see. Sam says, missed out my question. Did I miss out your question? I thought I covered that one already. So this is the high sub. Are you expecting convertible notes with Cleanspark right after their ATMs? Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. And the parabolic moves, I talked about that also. Yeah, I would expect parabolic moves in the first half of the year is what I would expect. Do you think Cleanspark should pursue HPC or over convertible notes? Do you think either will happen? You are the man. Thank you so much. What do I think? HPC is tough. We don't have a lot of data with it as far as companies, right? What is their return on investment on those things? How long does it usually take? We have heard from Dan at IREN that originally they were looking at an ROI on those H100s to be about 2 years. A couple months later, they're now talking about 2.5 to 3 years, right? So that profit margin is coming down on those things, and you're getting less, I think, pricing power to get from your customers. So just like with anything else, commodity, right? When something becomes a commodity, it goes down in price as far as cost is concerned, and you're making less money on it. We're going to see the same thing with HPC. So in time, I think it's tough. I think I need more data on it, at least to see a year or two, how have the miners done and how have their revenues been decreasing or improving from that point of view. But if they have the sites and somebody wants those sites and it's a good deal, I'm sure they would probably entertain it, right? I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. And especially if they don't have to buy the machines there and somebody else puts the machines, that's even better, I think. If you can just lease out the facilities, that'd be great. Because I think that's really profitable business side of things, kind of what we saw with CoreWeave and Core Scientific. And then convertible notes, do I think that they might do them? We'll see. What kind of, that seems to be the trend right now, at least, in the convertible notes. But we'll see also how that plays out. We also saw the trend with people doing the debt, right? Taking on debt last cycle, and a lot of people got hurt because of it. Will they get hurt this time around? Maybe not, but there's always a possibility that something does happen where it wipes a lot of these guys out potentially. All right. Let's see. Do you think Hive will get a pump this week when they release their numbers and after the meeting on the 11th? I don't know. Hive is a great operator, just they're not ambitious in their growth. And that's the only thing I can say about them, really. Are miners still being suppressed by short sellers? Yes. It looks like they started moving better in the last days. Yeah. Let's see. If you were a Mara convertible bondholder, would you hedge by shorting Mara or buying at current prices? I'm not into the options side of things. So I'm sure they're probably doing both a little bit. All right. Let's see, I'm going to DCA out. No need to miss the top by being greedy. Yeah, I agree. Fair play. Thanks, Hope. And hope you have a blessed Sunday. Thank you. Same to you. All right. Okay. With how the miners are currently tracking Bitcoin, could this be investors DCA out of them? Right now, no. I think it's too early to DCA out of them. And all right, I think we're going on almost an hour and 10 minutes here, so we're going to call it a day here. Really appreciate you guys coming in here, as always. We'll see what happens later on this week. And let's see, would you ever make your own meme coin? No. I would never make my own meme coin. I do not want to scam people. That's not my thing. Could I make millions off of it? Sure. I could probably make millions off of it, maybe. But I would just feel bad at night. People got rug pulled because of something that I did. No, I'm not doing any meme coins. All right, and the last question here. I think short volume on Cleanspark has lowered last days. Did you notice that? I have not. I'm going to be looking to see if we can pull that data in for the latest short information from the end of November here, which I think we should be getting this week. So I'd like to definitely see that, see where those shorts are going lower, if they're going higher. If they're going lower, I think that's a good sign. That means that the miners will probably go up as well. All right, but that's it. We're going to call it a day here. Like I said, thank you so much for coming in here. We'll see what happens later on this week. Bitcoin right now is at, where's Bitcoin at right now? Bitcoin's still under 100,000. So we're still battling with 100,000. And then we'll see what we get later on this week. We'll look at some other stats that I have and charts and everything else that I'm still pulling data in for. I'm just waiting on Hive right now to pull their numbers in. All right, so that's it. Love you all. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you guys tomorrow.